The presentation will be pretty short, and we'll open up for Q&A. And I have Eric Seberg here, the project manager from Bolton and Mink. He will also be able to handle more technical questions as a design engineer for this project. So I'll just verify with Bolton and Mink that I'd like to wait a minute or two for people to stop entering the virtual meeting before we get started. If I can get a thumbs up or some voice recognition once that occurs, then I'll get started on the presentation.
Yep, Steve, it looks like there's no one waiting to enter. So everyone who's here is in.
All right, well, it's 6:03, so I think we'll stay prompt and we'll start the presentation. If you have any technical difficulties, please let us know. But if you're having a hard time hearing, there's a second way you can hear from a mobile device. If you want to dial the 646-558-8656 number, you have to have the meeting ID and passcode. So the meeting ID is 995-3511-3643, and passcode is 293029. If you have problems, message us, and Bolton and Mink will get you this information so you can at least hear the voice part of the meeting. So you're here for the Robert Sewer District sewer shed refinement. It's part of the Comprehensive Sanitary Sewer Plan, and this is City Project 2015-20. Welcome to this virtual open house. So the Comprehensive Plan was revised in 2017, and that was done with the city engineer and our engineer and our consultant engineer, Bolton and Mink, in 2017, and they examined the north part of the Robert Sewer District sewer shed, and they examined the feasibility of diverting some of that area to the east towards Babcock Trail on the B line, what's called the B line sewer, and it would allow for is a shallower sewer system where we're talking about in south of there along 70th Street. And it also allows for the northern area to develop sooner because they wouldn't have to wait for the 70th Street area to develop first and for that sewer to extend north. So it helped with get rid of the concern of what's called leapfrogging with developments. And there's also a general net savings to infrastructure and development cost. So the North Robert Sewer District Feasibility Report was approved by Council in 2017. And at that time, they did conservative estimates because it was there's no development that was approved at that time north of 70th Street. So they wanted to make sure all properties within the reach of the sewer system could be served. So here is the before and after 2017 comprehensive sewer plan. Before, if I take my hand, and I'll just zoom in a little bit to help out with the visual. So we have 70th Street down at the bottom where my hand is. We have Rock Trail on the west side of this. And you can see the sewer before 2017 extended all the way north up to Dickman Lake and in the areas that are shown here all the way to Babcock Trail. And then after the option B revision of the sewer system to send this Dickman Lake area and areas north of 65th Street to the east, and it would connect to Babcock Trail and 63rd Street B-line sewer. So it's a different sewer system. That allowed the area to the south here to be disconnected now, and it can now be, can be shallower systems and provide benefit. Now, this was all done before any finalized development plans were coming into this area. So it was a the depths were very conservative in order to make sure there was future options as development occurs. Excuse me while I just got to zoom back out. So now we come to this current review, and what I'll just note is this is a similar map, but zooming in on the southern portion of the maps we just looked at. This is Robert Trail, this is 70th Street, and the yellow down here in the corner is where the roundabout is for Trunk Highway 3, and how the gas station's is south of here. But in the northeast quarter here is the canvas at IGH Development. And so that's the spur of this review, refinement of the system, because we're starting to get development proposals in, and we can better determine based on at that time now what the trunk sewer depths can be. So I worked with Bolton and Mink, and we put a technical memorandum based on the submittals we've gotten from Canvas at IGH Development in fall of last year. And we put together in the technical memorandum with the council on January 25th. They received it, and it acknowledged that we are implementing the 2017 revised SSP. That was the B, option B, to send the area north of here to the east to the Babcock Trail area, where this area we're looking at now is going to be refined based on current development submittals. And we were able to identify that shallow sewer depths could occur depending on which direction you're going, between 10 to 14 feet shallower. And this also refines shallow depths for some of the upstream properties when we did this review. So the shallower overall trunk sewer depths will reduce development costs, which is a benefit to all the properties in this Northwest area Robert Sewershed District. So here's the general refinement plan. I mentioned Canvas is down here in the corner. The sewer system runs through Canvas, and it will also head west for future development over here. And there are development submittals in that area already on the Falcon properties. And it will be able to head north through the properties in purple here. And those of you that are on the call here know who you are. And I've been working, and Tom's been working with all these property owners up in this area. And then to the east, you can see the blue line, light blue area. And then we also have to show that although this area here is developed on our lien, we still have to show it can be served. So we're not saying that we're going to send sewer up here. We're not. What we're saying is, in order to service the area, this is the line that would have to go in. And then, of course, we have to have a way to service the green area. And so we show a lift station going in so we can service the green area. Now, I want to make sure that everyone knows that this is a conceptual layout only, and that anything upstream of Canvas, so anything upstream of the yellow that I mentioned, the blue the dark blue, light blue, red, or green, is all conceptual, and that will be subject to change when those development plans come in. Then we will work with those developers and development plans in order to make refinement of the sewer system at that time and alignments. So I just to clarify, this is conceptual right now. Just like the last plan done in 2017 was, the 30,000 foot level feasibility study. Now we're starting to dial that down now for the canvas site, but outside of that, there's still some variability that can occur once development comes in, and those properties need to be served outside of the canvas area. This is just another map showing that the depths need to be kind of maintained up through the green, and then there's flexibility in the yellow areas, kind of where the sewer depths can be, and that's generally due to the green circles are kind of low point pinch points where we got to get the sewer under a low area in order to service lands upstream of that. So that's the general overview of what we've proposed. The information is more readily available on the city website, that you can look at PDF documents and zoom in at www.ighmn.gov/Robert Sewer District. It was in the memos that everyone has received. And council wanted us to make sure we had this meeting so that we take input back. And then as the city engineer and Bolton and Mink will be doing a future update to the CSSP, the Comprehensive Sanitary Sewer Plan for this Northwest area in Robert District. And then what we'll do is at that time, we'll incorporate your comments and get those to the city engineer and Bolton and Mink. So if any revision that needs to be made to what's shown in this this is just a technical memorandum. There's time to change appearances of how things look based on comments we receive from everyone. So Eric Seberg is here to answer technical questions. He's listed here as a project manager. We will now open it for Q&A for those that have questions. Eric, did anyone chat in the question as of yet? Did anyone get in the chat to type in a question?
Nope, Steve. I'm watching the chat now, but maybe that'll spur some questions into the chat box. If you do have a question, you can type it in and we'll answer it. And if not,
there are some people on video. If someone if someone isn't using the chat or has trouble using the chat, you can raise your hand. If we see you on video, we can maybe open up your voice and let you say something. Looks like Tom Fee, if you could open his voice and let him speak. If Madeline's available as the administrator or Eric. Oh, there we go. Okay. Hey, Tom.
Hey there.
Welcome.
Good evening. Thank you. And Eric and I had a chance really last minute to have a chat about this. We have the property at 6515 Badcock Trail, which is 25 acres. And when you look at the green line, what you show there's 7 properties that might in future development. I understand this is just speculative or whatever your terminology would be, but you've got really 7 properties, including ours, that might call for sewer at some point in the future. But we are currently constructing a home on the property that's situated in such a fashion that there's either ourselves or even a subsequent owner would highly improbable ever call for sewer to come through. Yet what we show in the speculation is to have a line running from south to north, having a pump station really centered in a property part of our woods that is, you know, a lowland and treed, which we would not disturb, and then going east to the light blue line as is demonstrated. And if you think about it, since our property, if 65th goes through, it would probably take anywhere from 1 to 3.5 acres of the southern edge of our property, and then everything north of that would be this home that would not make any sense based on its situation to have the property subdivided. Yet you have a line running from south to north and then east to west to connect, when in fact, if there's any possibility of development amongst trying to get 6 disparate properties together, if you're going to head, why would you take all of the expense of going north to come to the pump station to bring it all the way west from that point? And secondarily, why would you cross our property to dead end a line into a park that theoretically should not have any development potential for the foreseeable future?
Eric, I will let you take that question, at least in the forefront. And then Tom, I appreciate your comments, and we will, I'll have Eric respond to that, and then we'll relay this information to the city engineer. And again, we will, you know, make appropriate modifications, you know, for the CSSP when this, you know, at a future date when they start looking at the modification through the Planning Commission and Council of the comprehensive plan for the area. Eric?
Yeah, thanks, Steve. Tom, yeah, that's a good point. You know, good point, and you and I discussed it earlier, and I've actually kind of started the conversation with city staff about how we show some maps going forward, because you're right. You know, the way we show our line work now is maybe not the way it would actually go in if it ever did go in. So I think we're going to be able to adjust our visuals here, and pull some of the pipes kind of out of, you know, dissecting your property, if you will. So we can maybe share some maps back and forth after the meeting, and, you know, keep discussing this. But I think the important thing is that if the property ever did need sewer 20, 30, 50 years from now, the main point is that it would need a lift station. So whether that's on your property or it's to the south, remains to be figured out. But I think we can pull that out of the center of your property for the time being, and still maintain the integrity of what we're trying to show. So I think it would maybe help to update a few maps, and then maybe have another conversation with you as it relates to your property.
Eric, thank you for that. So what I really hear you saying is that, you know, what we're trying to do is start a dialogue around a really complex plan that's trying to plan out future development for the city, which we get. But based on your comments, it gives me less cause for concern when right now whatever is coming from this particular meeting and its intentions, if you can imagine what we've invested in this property and all the work that we're doing to restore the woodlands, to see this is somewhat disturbing, to be honest. But I trust in your intentions to address this so that it looks more reasonable given the new realities since we have purchased this property virtually 2 years ago and really changed the nature of it since that acquisition. So thank you. I appreciate that.
Yep.
Tom and Eric, thank you for both your questions and comments on that. And I will also comment from a city perspective is the intent, Tom and others, is we would follow the 65th Street alignment. So we would not be, with the lift station and the force main that's shown here. So the intent is we would not be trying to take up more of your land, Tom. We would follow the 65th Street alignment, whatever that is. So I think we will be making modifications to this based on comments from you, Tom, and I appreciate you, talking over that with us. And we'll work with you in the near future here before we get to the comprehensive sewer plan update to make sure we show this reasonably for both you and the city, and we don't show impacts that are unnecessary. Is there anyone else that would like to comment, or do we have any messages, Eric?
Craig has a question. Go ahead, Craig.
And I do appreciate you guys doing this, and understanding that yes, this is futuristic, but I think when you look at the Northwest area here, there's a lot of different topologies and a lot of different variances in lands. And not only are you going to need a lift station, where it's shown right now on Fee's area, but at the northern end of the pink area on the right-hand side, those properties are way lower than the street and way lower than Babcock. So they would also need, if this ever went in the future, this would need, and you're too far east or west there. Yeah. And it's those last three on the top three in the pink right there. Yeah. Because those topologies there is probably 100 feet below street, maybe a little bit less. The other thing I'm looking at is I know that you need to plan for future development, but in the light blue area you've got listed on the 79 acres behind us, do you have development requests for that area? Because one of the last meetings, I know Jason had mentioned that when we were talking about the 65th Avenue, he was very opposed to even putting 65th through, as we all know that this is something that's future. But I'm just wondering, is there current plans for development of that area?
Thank you for your question, Craig, and thanks for participating. It's I am very excited that we have the landowner participation that we have, for this area, because it's really important we get your feedback. And Craig, as far as development goes, Tom Fee mentioned further north that he's developing a single family home unit right up in this area here. And he's trying to protect some area, is my understanding. And that, and I think Tom Kaldunsky, the city engineer, mostly worked with Tom in that area. I personally we'll have to get back to you on any development pressure. I think you're talking about this green area, Craig. Is that the area you're talking about?
No, it's the area between Arlene and Robert in the light blue sewer line that you have. The old Claddock place, I think it's.
Oh, you're talking about this area.
Yeah,
you're talking about the old Claddock place. Yeah. So yes, the city has been getting discussions and of development of this area, but I am not aware yet that there's been anything submitted that is official. So it's. So I guess, yes, there are discussions ongoing. And if there's some more concrete, Craig, I got it logged down that I will reach out to you and make sure you're aware of something more concrete. But right now nothing more than concepts and discussions going on at this point.
Right. Thank you.
And as far as the developments over here, Craig, yeah, you mentioned the area over here, the red line and what's kind of the reddish, pinkish parcels over here. And you notice that these two properties, which are Rexico owned properties, showing to be serviced by this area. There is a sewer line extension south of 70th along Babcock from what is just a couple blocks south of there, which is the Bancroft development. I think that sewer can be extended up here. And that would service those two properties. And there's just off of here is a city property, like the city owns this corner down here. And that's we're trying to open that for development also.
Okay. Thank you.
Does that answer your questions, Craig?
Yes, it does.
Does anyone else have a question, or did they want to message something? And please remember to put yourself on mute. Thank you.
Yeah, I can read a question here I have from Lynn Nelson. Will property owners in the red area be assessed for trunk development, even if they won't be connected to sewer? So I'll let you answer that, Steve, and I can provide any technical assistance.
Yeah, so the northwest area, you talking about in the red here?
Yep, kind of the Arlene neighborhood.
That was the question I'm hearing?
Yep.
Okay. So that's a really good question, because basically when a trunk line goes in, the northwest area is set up in order to be not done by assessments, but done by development fees and connection fees, and when development occurs. So if there was ever a sewer extension needed, the Arlene area, if they had a petition to be serviced, would surely would include assessments, but just getting the sewer line through the area in order to service others, I think I would have to work with the city engineer to define that question a little further, just to make sure we answer it appropriately. I don't want to speak too soon. And I just want to say I'll get back to you on that, Lynn Nelson, to make sure we respond appropriately. But the northwest area is meant to be working off of development and connection fees, area fees and connection fees. But because of this existing development, I think I would just defer to get back to you on that, so we answer that appropriately.
I think there's more than just Lynn who would be interested in knowing about that, whether those fees would be extended into this area, into the lower area along Athena and Arlene.
Steve, I might hop in just for a point of clarification. The residences along Arlene and Athena would not be subject to any fees for sewer work downstream. Maybe that is already clear, but point of clarification. So any work that's done in the clay deck area, the residences would not see any fees for that work.
Even though that's going to be eventually in the future handle our sewage? Okay, thank you.
Yep.
Yeah. Eric is correct. There is no in this northwest area that's undeveloped. The Arlene and Athena Way would not receive any area assessments for sewer. I was only referring to, I need to get back to you if the red line ever went in. I think we need to just discuss that and get more clarification if and when the other properties around here would be assessed if the red line ever went in, or if that, or and how that would exactly be handled. That's a very good question, and I didn't want to answer ad hocly today. I'd rather go back, work it out with the city engineer and public works director to make sure we answer that question appropriately.
And just a question about that red line extension over into the light blue property. Athena does not continue beyond to the west of Arlene there. That road was never put in. Would that, so does that impact the plan for that line through there?
Lynn, thank you for your question. And my understanding is the road stops here today, yep, but there is still right of way that is available for the plat.
Yep.
And that all we would do when we've developed the blue line is we would make sure there's a stub going this way so that it could always be extended if it was ever requested or ever needed. Right. So at that point, that's what we would do unless there are other concerns about getting a line through this right away.
Yeah, because the property drops off pretty steeply from to the west, right at that
kind of mid property line.
Right at the property line between the blue area and the red area. Right there, yes.
Okay, I appreciate you sharing that with us. Yep.
Let's see, I think there were a few other questions. Yep, I got a question from Michael. How would Harmon be affected? I'm assuming Harmon Park.
Yes, Harmon Park is not to be developed. And if you look at, I'm going to go 1 second. I'll just go back to the prior diagram. So Harmon Park is not projected to be developed. The only thing we have is the 65th Street alignment on the very border here that needs to go through here, whatever that final alignment looks like, working with what it was the Tom Fee property up here. And what we have is, if for the B line, the northern option is on, this is 63rd Court right off of Babcock right down here. And there's a cul-de-sac within this big circle here. There's a cul-de-sac where my hand is, 63rd Court. We've already installed a water main that goes across Harmon Park and then all the way Trunk Highway 3, and then goes down Robert and then connects through the current developments of Blackstone through this area, and then connects all the way down to 70th and Egan. So this water main is already in because we needed this secondary water main loop to service this whole area. So the water main system trunk system is in place now. So there's feeds from the north and also feeds from the south going all the way down to 80th Street. So now the sanitary sewer system would show the same connection point, 63rd Street, but all we would do is bring a shallow force main through Harmon Park, just like we took the water main, which is only 8 feet deep. The force main would be a similar depth, and it would just come right through Harmon Park along that same alignment. So that's the only impact of Harmon Park is, and other than that, and it would just outlet, the sewer force main would outlet into a manhole we already placed, in the 63rd cul-de-sac, prepping for the possibility of a force main system. So we allowed for this possibility to occur when I reconstructed. I was the engineer on the reconstruction of 63rd Street, and back 2016, and we knew that there would be a potential for a force main to come this way, so we put a manhole in, sanitary manhole, that would allow for this option if needed, so we don't have to rip up that street again because it's a brand new street. So anyways, that's the plan. Does that answer your question?
So Steve, if I could do a continuance, this is Tom Fee. If you go forward to one of the other maps that showed the line, the green line going through our property, please. So and I think it's an interesting question posed by Michael, but you're saying that the green line is to connect through the M&E property, the old Kratitz property, pumping all of the sewer from the southeast to the northwest slightly, and then from the east to the west. But then there's this line that literally goes through the center part of our property and dead ends into Harmon Park. And I think the question has to be just, and Eric and I talked about this a bit, but you have this line going through a park, but you've already indicated the green lines has to go from the east to the west to connect down to the Robert and 70th. But yet you've got this dotted line that indicates dead ends in a park, that it really creates a question mark around intention when you draw this. Now, I really believe from my conversations with Eric that that's going to go away, but it poses some questions, and it is informative to what you just got done saying about the water lines, which we get. We know that Loch Gregor, which is this 50 acres south of Dickman Lake and north of the Chris property and the Nichols property, is going to go to the B line. But why in the world would you even demonstrate a sewer line going north of a pump station that shouldn't be there in the first place into the middle of a park? And I'm not trying to create some deep scenarios here, but it does.
Tom, I think we can answer your question. Yeah, Tom, I really appreciate your question, and I think Eric and I can respond to that pretty quickly. When I worked with Eric, I didn't catch initially that this was, because of the way it's shaded, I didn't catch this as part of Harmon Park myself. Eric, I think we can confirm, we're not going to serve Harmon Park. That maybe that was just an oversight when the lines were drawn. Is that what I'm seeing here? And this line can go away?
Yep, that's kind of what I was planning on. Yeah, removing that line, and we could even unshade that area.
And I think that's
this should be a different shade because this is the park area.
Right, and I think that's to Michael's point. When you do things like that, it just doesn't seem in alignment with what your objectives are. And so by changing that, and I know some other alterations that we can talk about with our property, with Eric and whomever, would be really helpful, because it just kind of it diminishes the concerns about what the long-term intentions of the city are when there's been a lot of questions about what and why and how and where.
All right, Tom. No, I really appreciate that. Yep, there's no reason why this green line shouldn't go away. So we'll be making that modification because we're not proposing to develop Harmon Park. So
thanks, Steve.
Thank you. You bet.
Also, Steve, to clarify, is that small property that's owned by the city across from the golf course, that is not going to affect anything in our area on Athena there, that red? They're two separate items. Is that true?
That's my understanding. This is Michael Pinney asking the question. Yes, that's my understanding that the Rexigo parcels and the city parcel have the opportunity to be served from the south.
Okay, thank you.
That's my understanding. Any other questions?
Yeah, I had another one here in the chat, Steve. Let's see. Oh, it's another question from Michael, but I think we kind of talked about that. I'm on Athena, and I would like a guesstimate on when sewer may be required. And Steve, it sounded like you kind of answered
yeah, we're
that.
not
It's probably
requiring
at a time when it's petitioned by the residents.
Yeah, we're not requiring this. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. All right. Are there any other questions? This has been a good conversation. There are some revisions that are going to come out of this this open house meeting, which is the point behind having them, to do some further refinement of the diagrams. So showing without conflict, that's the main thing. The Harmon Park's a really good one as an example. So those are the kind of things we'll shake out when we show lines on paper. So I appreciate everyone's feedback.
Thank you for holding the meeting.
Receive any further comment, Eric?
Getting a,
you bet. And I again, go ahead, Eric.
Not yet, no. Yep. I was just going to say, I think we've answered the questions that are in the chat. I'm kind of sifting through. Some of them are fairly similar. So if anyone doesn't have a question that's been answered, either type it in now or maybe speak up and we'll hear another question.
How do I do that? Eric, can you hear me?
Yep.
Oh, I didn't know if you guys could hear me. Jesus. Tom.
Hi, Tom. Is this Tom?
Hey, Steve. Hey, the only question, I understood most of it. I talked to your boss, Steve, and which I always enjoy, and we laugh our butts off. The only thing I had is when these things are sent out, diagrams and maps, why don't you guys explain this and the legends? I mean, and I'll give you an example. You got numbers. You got the little round dots that represent different heights, but you got numbers. You got like 5 of them there, and you got abbreviations. I'll give you an example. You got D equals 27 feet. Most people don't even know what D means. At least I didn't. Do you understand my questions?
So, yeah, Tom, that's a great question. I think this is a snapshot of a larger map. So, Eric, I'll let you respond to that if there's a legend that's just not shown on here at this time.
Yeah, Tom, you bring up a good point, and it's something that I maybe struggle with as a technical writer and a technical person. All this stuff makes sense to me, but I totally understand that the abbreviations that we put on maps don't always make sense or are clear. So I apologize for that.
No, Eric, you're not the only one. I get
it's all of us.
Yeah, it's everybody. And the thing is, there's so much abbreviation. Sure, engineers understand it, of course, but you take the landowner, just the average Joe, which I have changed my way of thinking now. I've taught myself a lot in the last 8 weeks. But anyhow, bottom line is I still struggle with some of the abbreviations. And I could name a half a dozen, and they're not in the legends. There's a few things. But and I could give you hundreds of examples. But and it upsets me because, that's not our forte. I have certain things that I'm very skilled at. But something like this, no, so it just has to be explained to the residents what this actually, and it would be so easy to do it too. Right. And it's everything that have been sent by the city, everything.
Yeah. Tom, that is that's a very valid comment. And I wrote down legends and making sure we have these abbreviations in the legend as we, update this map we have and technical memorandum. And this can all be done because we have time to do this before the city engineer updates the comprehensive sanitary sewer plan for this area. So this is a technical memorandum dealing with Canvas, and we want to do a refinement of the review of the area, so we make sure we get Canvas correct, which is just down in the corner here, but everyone else gets affected by any decisions I make here. So I wanted to make sure we put some type of technical memorandum together to share with people if there's any refinement, so that we continue this conversation as further development occurs. We got to each other, we share with each other feedback like we're doing, and in the end, we're gonna this exercise is gonna allow 10 to 14 foot shallower depths of sewer going either north or east or west. And what that's going to mean for future development is it's going to make the properties a little bit more developable, because sewer cost, trunk sewer costs will be less or general sewer costs will be less for the development in the city. So there'll be an overall benefit for everybody. So
yeah,
thanks for
I
your
appreciate
points, Tom.
Yeah, Steve, I appreciate that. And Eric, the same thing. But I'm just kind of shocked by it. And sometimes, no offense, but I think sometimes the city doesn't offer this is because I really believe this sometimes. It's like you're not offering it because you're keeping the residents in the dark. I really do feel that way sometimes. Not saying that's the case, but I do feel that way at times. Because there's so much, like these numbers that you guys present on the one on this what we're talking about. I already explained it. Who in the heck can understand? You start off with the top one, M. What is it? I can't. It's even hard to read because it's so small. And I've questioned that too. It's like,
hey, Tom, I do appreciate your comments, and we actually, I think Eric and I get what you're saying, and just to keep the meeting short and concise, and because it's recorded, I want to offer to meet with you separately with Eric and I, if you want to spell out more concise issues that you want us to address. But we can definitely meet separately and address further concerns. But I definitely got your legend point and with you on that. Are there any other items that you wanted to bring up, Tom?
No, because I talked to Tom Kadowski this afternoon, and he pretty much covered everything. And then on top of it, I've got a nice meeting with him tomorrow afternoon.
Okay.
So I'll give him. I'll
Very
give
good,
him
Tom.
some.
Really appreciate you checking on though, and providing your comments. So thank you for that.
Yeah, you're welcome.
I think a lot of us, you had thrown out some informational items, and for right now, only the northwest area of 70th and Robert Street is designed for development at the present, and the one just to the north of it and the one just to the east of it, those are likely the potential next developments that will occur. Is that what I'm reading?
Well, right now the yellow Canvas IGH is being developed. It's in final submittal stage. Is that what you're asking, Michael?
Yes, but you also threw out the idea that the properties just to the north and just to the east were going to be kind of the next ones, that dominoes that would fall.
Well, Mr. Lund's property is this property. He has not, there's been no development plan submitted for the Lund property. What I was talking was the Falcon properties over here.
Over there.
There's been submittals coming in on the Falcon properties. Yeah, so go west of Trunk Highway 3, just across from Canvas, it's the Falcon properties I was referring to. And just north of the Falcon properties, there's some discussion here too. So there's this general discussion in this, and there's also discussion east of the Canvas in the old Cladic site. Been going ongoing. We can't get into details because unless there's official submittals have been presented, at council level, all we can, just let people know is we're always under, interim discussions on development, but there have been submittals starting to come through on the Falcon properties. So that's one of the closer developments coming behind Canvas. Does that answer your question, Michael? You bet. Any other questions? This has been a very good conversation, everybody. I really appreciate your participation.
Hey, Eric and Steve, this is Richard Whalen from Arlene
down
Avenue.
To the bottom. Yes.
Yeah, I just had a question in regards to the open house invitational that we received. There was a comment made in there in regards to how the sewer lines were going to be able to be shallowed, 10 or 15 feet more. And it notes that it was originally anticipated. So I was just curious as to how did that assessment of being able to, shallow them further come up? Was there some kind of study done? Was there some kind of, mapping done? What can you tell me?
Yeah, Richard, thanks for your comments. And what happened was the Canvas development in the northeast corner of the roundabout that just went in at 70th and Robert. That's the new Canvas development. That's preliminary plat's already been approved by council. Final plat has already been into planning commission. So we're in final stages of getting this approved through council. So at that point, since fall till now, we've been working with that development. And what we decided to do was we went back to what was a 2017, looking at this from a feasibility 30,000 foot level, where they said, okay, we're going to keep all these sewers deep enough to work with developers as things occur in the future. Well, when Canvas came in, everything goes through Canvas, right? That's the starting point of all this sewer north of 7th Street. So they're the triggering point, basically. So we took the triggering point and we went back to the yellow area, that's Canvas, and we said, you know what? The feasibility in 2017 was a plan. Now we need to refine the plan based on Canvas's submittal, their type of buildings they're putting in, their grades, their basement depths, and everything. And then we looked at the upstream properties and followed very closely the Northwest Area Stormwater Management Plan in order to understand low floor elevations that could be developed in the area in accordance with regional basins and low points. And we refined everything outside of Canvas slightly too to make sure that you could get served. So in order to lower things at Canvas, we had to kind of backtrack. We had to first look north and east of Canvas and make sure that we can service all those properties. And by doing that, we determined that there's these two circle areas here and here, one on the Cladic property, one on the Lund property. And those two are the pinch point areas that keep these depths where they need to be, one going to the east and one going to the north. So we've just refined the bigger comprehensive plan based on where the alignment of the sewer is going through Canvas. Because now we have an actual development plan with Canvas. We know exactly where the sewer is going to come through the Lund property. We know exactly where the sewer is going to come through the Cladic property. Now we can actually better determine the sewer depths, and that allowed a 10 to 14 foot shallowing of the sewers, which is a benefit to development overall.
Okay.
Does that help answer that question?
Yeah, and so to me, it sounds like the canvas information was then extrapolated to these other areas. Is that correct?
Let me hop in real quick, Steve.
Yep,
Richard,
I was going to defer that to Eric. Yep.
Yep. So kind of what happens, Richard, is when the city receives a preliminary plat submittal, it includes engineered drawings, including sewer. And since the sewer in this case has to go through Canvas and then serve additional properties, the developer's engineer will ask the city, what elevation do I need to end the sewer at along my property line to serve additional properties? And so once that question is asked to the city, it's kind of the city's responsibility here to look at the sewer on the property line of Canvas and then look upstream to see exactly what elevation that sewer needs to be set at. So that's what spurred this this refinement look, so that we could provide sound information to the developer's engineer for the sewers at their property line.
Mm-hmm. Okay, great, thank you.
Yep.
A quick question about the M&E development, which is the credits place. Is that currently, I think, Steve, you had mentioned there are some preliminary discussions about they may want to be doing some development. Is that correct?
Steve, you're on mute.
Which property are you looking at, Mr. Fee? Yep.
M&E, which is 80 acres, which used to, I forget his name, Larry's property. Is there some discussion that's going on?
Yeah, there's been discussions, but that's all we can review at this time. Is I'm not aware of official submittals yet.
Thank you.
Any other questions? All right. Well, everyone, I think we've answered the questions that are for us. We got some ideas and feedback on how this the comprehensive sanitary sewer plan can get updated in the near future, and we'll share with the city engineer and public works director and council in the future. These will revise the exhibits appropriately, as in accordance with the comments we got from everybody. And I really appreciate this meeting. This was a 1 hour meeting that was well spent. I think we should have more of these because it just gets rid of any misconception of any drawing that's out there. It also gets the actual property owner's feedback that knows the property better than probably we do, so that we can make sure we show things in a way that is best for the city and best for the property owner. So everyone, I appreciate your comments, and we'll make those adjustments. And if there's anything we couldn't answer, I'll make sure to reach out to you. And you can contact Eric and I at any time. Here's our contact information. I'm Steve Dodge, the Assistant City Engineer, and Eric Seberg is the project manager. You can always go to this website and the Robert Sewer District. This video will be posted on the website for and recorded, so that other property owners that couldn't make the meeting can still view the video and the PowerPoint, and then they can also make further comment after today. So everyone, thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Thank you, Steve. Thank you, Eric.
Yep. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.
All right, Eric, I think we can stop recording.